as we end our week, I have got some really interesting, kind of campy things to share with you, including some fun behind the scenes from Deep Space Nine, the very best way you could possibly enjoy your Earl Grey, and some bourbon that segued into a season 4 Strange New Worlds production start date. This is the Star Trek Void, where I try to fill in the gaps between new episodes with a little news, a little information, and hopefully a little bit of entertainment. And yeah, we're going to start off with this great picture that I came across of Morn in all his Morn splendor under an umbrella. I do get a thing with umbrellas on this channel behind the scenes. They fascinate me. Like, why would he have an umbrella? Anyway, wear sunscreen or you'll end up like Morn. This is very silly advice, but actually really good advice, because sun wrinkles your skin. It can, obviously it can do much damage, and it looks like Morn was born under 4 suns and stayed there. So you might want to watch out and be more prepared than Morn. This image was shared by trekcore.com. Always try to give credit where credit is due. It's still a great picture, cracks me up. Then there is this picture, which for some reason is very, very tiny, so I do apologize, which is what makes this picture a little difficult to share, because this is as big as I can make it unless I stretch stuff. So real quick, Tango from Pike's Horse, or at Pike's Horse, I should say, shared this. And now that I've shown you that, I can show you this a little better. Why is this such a fascinating picture? Well, my youngest daughter and I have decided that anything where Spock smiles is creepy and wrong. And so Leonard Nimoy giving a grin up as Spock is always, yeah, that's always fun. We recently rewatched Voyage Home, and at the very end, of course, Spock is on the Klingon ship as it's going down, and he's smiling, and we always enjoyed that in my family, going, look, he broke character because he was having a great time, because, who wouldn't have a great time swimming with whales? That would be a freaking awesome day. Trekcore also shared this. It's the best way you could possibly ever enjoy your Earl Grey. Every TNG fan should have a set of these. They just need to. Who's got the tea? Master Replicas is bringing back Captain Picard's famous teacup set, partnering with the original manufacturer, Bodum, with the glassware set available for pre-order today. More details, I'll try to make sure I include that link in there with you. This is fantastic. I don't even drink tea or coffee, and I kind of want it, except I already have too many coffee cups and mugs that people give me for Christmas and my birthday that have characters. I have space, I have Star Wars, I have Star Trek, I have too many cups. But I kind of want these. Another bit of fun released by Funko. Yes, this one is a little older, but it's still on pre-order. So I wanted to share it in case anybody hadn't seen it yet, because everybody really must get their Picard collectibles here. This one is shared by Star Trek. New Star Trek Picard Funko Pop figures have landed. Pre-order now before they're gone. I have pre-ordered my 7, I have pre-ordered my Rafi, and I have pre-ordered my Jet Crusher. Why did I not pre-order Picard? Because I already have a Picard. So, if you've been here before at all, you know that I am pulling for Star Trek Legacy to come out. That would be the show where 7 of 9 is the captain. And so I needed to get my Legacy crew, my main crew. So until they come out with, Tavine and LaForge and Matthew there, and until they come up with the other crew, I'm gonna have to stick with these guys, and I'm really excited to get them. I'm gonna put them up here so we can see them, I'm just so excited. And you should order yours now. Let's see here. We have images of each one individually. Picard is very cool. Don't get me wrong. If you need a Picard, this is the Picard to get. But I have the Captain Picard bobblehead, which I'm quite proud of. Love Rafi. I've not had a Rafi or a 7, and I definitely didn't have a Jack Crusher. So these are great, and I have a theory as to why they released these 3 with Picard rather than, say, Data or Worf or Geordi. And my theory is one of the things I shared with Alex Perry on Trekcore's weekly Trek podcast. Yes, he was kind enough to ask me to come and join him. I put in an application. I asked if I could be there, and he accepted it, which was cool. And I had this really fun experience of chatting with him about a few pieces of news. And one of the things he asked was, what was what was I interested in Star Trek? What got me excited? And I really am excited about the prospect of Star Trek Legacy. And I think the reason that they released those Funko Pops, particularly Seven, Rafi, and Jack, is because if those sales skyrocket, if people really want this show, they're going to buy Seven and Rafi and Jack. And that's another meter by which to measure the fans' interest in this new show, which again, we think won't be for a couple of years, but we might get it. Now, you know, I love to feature a Trek artist each time, and I'm doing something a little different this time because Anson I really enjoyed the work that he did here. So Anson likes to work the clay, and so he's taking some pieces out of his kiln that he made. And I really enjoyed that. He made them himself. This post is from Anson Mount. Can we buy an Anson creation was one of the questions for the one called Ajay. That's nice. And yeah, he has these great pieces that he made himself. He does describe what they look like and the work that he did. Each of the ones he shows here are unique, but I believe he does say that one of them inspires him to want to make another. And they're all very different. This is a whiskey sipping cup. Really came out nicely. I love the glaze on this one. It's almost metallic, and I think that's what he says too in the video. And then this blue one, and white with a little purple at the top. This one he liked so much he did want to duplicate it. And now this one is really pretty too. He was trying to do a marbling effect. And don't worry, I know you're like, why are you talking over him? Why can't we listen to him? Because it's a long video, and I'm going to include the link to it below so you can watch the entirety of it. Yeah, I like this one as well. And as you can see on the bottom, if he does show the bottom, he does sign them. For the most part, I think there was one he said he missed. These are really amazing pieces of work, though. And so I thought it would be great to feature one of our actors as the artist because these are beautiful, and he's obviously an artist. And yeah, so you can check out this full video. Make sure you do check the links below. I'll mark it so that you can tell which one is which. And he reveals even more. They are fantastic pieces of work. Check them out. Now, as you may or may not know, this young man known as Paul Wesley was featured in a show called The Vampire Diaries, in which he made a very good friend, his on-screen brother, Ian Somerhalder, and he have opened their own little spirits company. Yeah. And while giving an interview on that, he let it slip that, Strange New World is going to be back filming for their 4th season in February 2025 in Toronto. That really is the only piece of Star Trek news that came out of that article. However, if you would like to check out the article done by the Hollywood Reporter, you can. I will have that linked as well. It is really great. It does talk about his Brothers Bond bourbon and how they work on it, and also how he and Ian Somerhalder also how they kind of delegate the jobs when each of them are working on different projects, such as filming in February in Toronto, which is how we came across that fun piece of information. Not so fun, however, is this. TrekMovie.com shares this article telling us that Star Trek Explorer, that magazine that's been around for 30 years, keeping us up to date on all the crazy information, backstage hijinks, and wonderful pictures, wonderful insights. Anyway, they're about done. Yeah, Star Trek Explorer reveals final issue ending 30 years of official magazine. And that's the amazing thing about this is it's, it was licensed and it's going to go. We do get, of course, other Star Trek magazines, but this one, it's unique. We've got some really great articles that they discuss and lots of covers they show. This is it. This is upsetting, but we can look through the past, how many different covers they had. Wow. Really going back in time, 95. Oh my gosh. It goes through the history of the magazine as well as when they had to rebrand themselves. Well, not had to, but they rebranded themselves. It also says that there are some chances that it could be bought up, that somebody else may continue with it. But right now, plans are that it will be over in December. So, buy your magazine now while you can. If you want to get this last one as a collector's edition, I highly recommend it. I haven't gotten tons of them, I'll admit, but I've enjoyed the ones that I have gotten, and I've taken them with me to conventions to have stars sign them. So, yeah, end of an era. And speaking of the end of an era, this slashfilm.com article tells us that there are some thoughts about having to recast Picard for future endeavors, where we would see him obviously at a younger state, and how Patrick Stewart feels about this. So the article does discuss, one, there have been plenty of people who have cast to play a younger Picard. We've seen it before. We've seen it. We will see it again. There's no shock in this. We've had somebody play his clone son, his clone self. And we've had younger versions of himself in other episodes of Star Trek. In fact, his own son played himself. So that was fun. But there isn't really any expectation that that's what will happen again. And so this is what Patrick Stewart has to say about it. It will happen, I'm sure. I mean, I already have a son, and who knows what's going to happen to him. He could become the next Jean-Luc, and he's a wonderful actor. But Star Trek Picard, especially season 3, left us in a very unresolved place. I had an idea about how to play the last scene that would have kind of resolved it, but it didn't work out. Now, with all the technology going on, we know that they can de-age an actor if they need to play themselves in the past. The problem is, Stewart, as wonderful as he is, may not be able to play those parts even with the technology. He's just getting a little bit up there in age. It's difficult. And as great as it's been to see him once again on Picard, we can't really expect Stewart to play the same part for the next 50 years. It's going to be kind of troublesome. But we do like to see our shows continue. We like backstories. We like prequels. We even can deal with the recasting. They've done it with the reboots. They've done it with Strange New Worlds. We love these actors. It takes a little time to accept them, but as long as they do well, we do well. Heck, even Paul Wesley, I seriously had trouble with him at first. I really, really did. But I've really enjoyed him the second season. I think he came into his own playing Kirk his way and doing it well, while still respecting the story and the character and where he comes from. So I'm hopeful, and I think that whoever they do cast, it will be an interesting choice and a good choice. Because let's face it, the Star Trek casting crews and the people behind the scenes who make the shows happen, they've done a pretty good job so far. And that's everything I have for this week's update. I want to thank those of you who have commented lately, even those of you who say, I'm just not your cup of tea. That's fantastic. That is fine. I really appreciate that you stopped by and tried this and, see if it was something you could get into or not. And there are so many amazing Star Trek fans out there with YouTube channels who love to talk about it. I'm sure you'll find somebody who speaks to you of Trek the same way you feel. So I hope that you do. And if you do like this one, please give this video a like. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that notifications bell so you'll know when my next video does come out. If you can deal with this crazy narrator. Thanks so much for joining me. Thank you to my members for that extra bit of support. I really do appreciate it. I'm just starting to try to get my membership going. So please do check that out. You get some little perks and mostly weird things that happen to me in my life. I will be heading to Chicago this weekend. So if you are at the Chicago Star Trek convention hosted by Creation Entertainment, look out for me. I know it's hard to find me in a sea of people. However, I will tell you, even in a Star Trek convention, this hair generally stands out. And I will be walking around with letters to sign it and send for letters for legacy to be sent into Paramount Global once the merger, which I did not report on today because nothing going on, does happen. And then whoever sits in that chair will know what we want right away. And if you didn't get enough Star Trek information and just wish you had a little bit more fun things and, you don't mind listening to the narrator, please do check out any of my other Star Trek videos right here on this channel. And no matter which video you choose, I'll see you there.